Hi everybody, it's Levi back in the Nerd Cave again for day 29 of our 30-day video challenge. And today I want to talk to you about not the sexiest of technology topics, but one that you should definitely take into consideration in your daily use of computers and phones and everything else. And that is ergonomics and the physical health that goes along with prolonged usage of technology. So here we go. I was a wee little nerd just starting out with technology, with computers and networking and other things. It was really no problem at all for me to sit in a chair for 10 to 12 hours at a time, maybe jump up and run to the restroom real quick, come back, right back in the chair. The keyboard was up here, it was flat, it was straight, my arms were all over the place, and I would just work and work and work and work and work and never feel a moment's discomfort. As I got older, obviously that changed. Part of that is being young and part of that is not knowing any better. But I got a little older, things changed. I started having pain in my wrist. I couldn't exercise, I couldn't play basketball, I couldn't do things that I wanted to do. And I figured out that it was carpal tunnel. And this was a little bit before I think carpal tunnel was sort of in the popular vernacular as something that could happen. It's a repetitive stress injury. And for computer users, that comes from holding a mouse in a pretty unnatural position for very long periods of time and doing very precise work with it. And it's an inflammation inside the tunnel in your wrist that carries a lot of ligaments and nerve endings back up into your arm. It's very painful and it's actually quite debilitating for some people. As soon as that started happening, I tried to reduce my mouse usage. I learned more keyboard shortcuts. I did a bunch of other things to try and remedy that, and nothing really helped long term. And then I started playing around with different kinds of pointing devices. I have had a mouse that was a joystick that you hold like this and move around the desk. I had the big trackball, so it was a big ball right in the middle of a device, and you would put your hand on top of it and move it around like this. For me, none of those things really worked out because I kept coming back to that wrist pain from the movement of my hand. And if you guys saw the tour of the Nerd Cave the way it was before we started tearing it all down like this, I mentioned that this is my favorite pointing device of all time. I do not know a lot of people that use these, but this is a trackball from Logitech, and I have not seen other manufacturers do it quite this way. The beauty of this is that the entire unit sits still on your desk. You rest your hand on it, and you move your thumb. So you move this trackball with your thumb. So the amount of motion that's taking place is very minimized, and the amount of motion taking place in your wrist is extremely minimized. Using that for a year or two completely relieved the pain in my wrists, and I don't have that anymore. I tell that whole story just to talk about ergonomics and the importance of paying attention to your workspace and how your body interacts with it. There was a period of time, probably about 7-8 years ago, when I really got interested in standing desks. I was reading a lot of research about how standing was better for you than sitting, and I was doing things like going into my office, and this, again, was kind of before Veridesk was around, or VersaDesk. It was before standing desks were really a thing that you could just go out and grab easily. And I was putting cardboard boxes on top of my desk and more cardboard boxes to put the monitors up so that my head was not pointing down at the monitor but was tilted up a little bit. And I started standing at work all day long. And that, I'm a fidgeter, so I stood at work and I moved around. I did little dances while I was working. It's not exercise. Please don't fool yourself into thinking that standing at your desk is exercise, but it does place a different kind of stress and a more natural kind of stress on your body while you're in that one place for a very long time. I know people who sit on the giant exercise balls, and that forces them to engage their core muscles and to kind of keep their balance, and it just gives your body a little something to do. So I have a standing desk in the Nerd Cave currently. I'm actually swapping that out for a convertible desk, which is one where you can just reach down and raise it up. So if you want to stand at it, you can. And when you set it back down, you can then sit at the desk. And the reason I'm switching is that more research I've read in the last 2 to 3 years has said standing is great for you. However, you really need to have a variety in your daily positioning while you're at this workstation for an extended period of time. The ergonomics of our environments, whether that's your kitchen, your car, your computer setup, are so important. Wherever you spend a lot of time, you need to step back from it and look at it and figure out, if it's putting stress on your body that over time can turn into an injury. Think about whether you're going to sit or stand, and if there's a way you could do both. Think about taking your laptop out of the office occasionally and going somewhere else. Putting your laptop in your lap is not necessarily the most comfortable of positions, but mix it up once in a while. Take it to the break room at work and sit down and work for a minute. Take it to a different height, counters and things, and just work for 15 minutes. Answer a couple of emails and then move on. Mix it up. The other thing that I have incorporated in my life for a really long time, and I'm a little bit brand loyal to Logitech with these things, but I used to use a standard flat keyboard, and for the last several years I have been using the Logitech Wave ergonomic keyboard. Now, this is not the most extreme ergonomic keyboard I've ever seen. They make ones where this sort of separation of the keys is much more pronounced, and where perhaps the separation of your hands is much more pronounced. I am not the world's greatest touch typist, so using a keyboard that forces my hands very far apart where there's no overlap in the keys was difficult. But if you are a touch typist, go out there and try a bunch of different keyboards and see the difference it can make when your wrists aren't in this locked down position that traditional keyboards have always forced us into. Ergonomic keyboards are available everywhere. They're reasonably priced compared to 5 years ago. And I just really want to encourage you, if you are sitting at a computer for prolonged periods of time, look at the ergonomics of that environment, of your displays. How high are the displays? How low are the displays? Do I have to crank my neck in an odd position to make things work? How does my chair feel? Is it high enough? Are the armrests in the right place? Is there a headrest and is it positioned correctly? Do I have lumbar support? These all seem like little things that don't matter, but they add up over time and prevent injuries to you. Your technology is not a luxury. It should not be a hindrance to your life, and it should certainly not cause injuries. Spend a little time this week looking at your work environment and figuring out the best way to configure your computers, your keyboards, your mice, your monitors, so that you get the most out of it and the technology is working for you, not the other way around. Guys, this has been day 29. Tomorrow, with a little luck, I will have the Nerd Cave rebuilt. We'll have the grand reopening tour for day 30 of our 30-day video challenge. I've had so much fun talking with you as always, and I will speak with you again tomorrow. Bye, everybody.